right, and we are back from our bye week of round five, moving on to round five, moving on to round six. So this week we're headed to Tuscany, Italy, to drive around Mugello. This has been a very interesting week for everybody to figure out this track. It's definitely a tough place. Right now we're in the middle of our qualifying session with Kevin Cohen on provisional pole.
Yes, he is traditionally very strong around here. So one of the interesting things about this race is that the practice time started at 10:10 a.m. So it is only going to get hotter throughout. So practice it was 84 degrees, now it's 92, and I'm curious to see where it's going to get by race time.
Absolutely. Yeah, right now it is partly cloudy, so that's helping out a little bit. But if those clouds move out, we're going to be looking at some pretty hot track temps for sure.
Absolutely. 56.6 is a very nice banker lap.
Yeah, definitely. 56.6 for a banker lap, that is rapid. If he continues to improve, it's going to be very difficult for a lot of these other guys in the session, or in
Yep.
this race session, to try to find pace on.
Yep. And we have 3 more minutes of qualifying left, so we're going to see who can complete their laps and get on pole. Anybody who crosses the start line before the timer hits 0 can complete their lap.
As far as our usuals go, we're definitely seeing Josh, Lewis, and Carter towards the front. But like you said, traditionally Kevin is very strong here, and I know he's been itching for redemption against Guilherme, and it looks like those two are definitely going to be fighting at the front this race.
Yeah, compared to last week, we have a couple more graduates racing and a coach. So we are going to have drivers that are finally going to put Carter and Luis and Josh actually to task here. It's not going to be just the three of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time I checked, our qualifying right now isn't quite showing it, but in our practice sessions we had 13 drivers within a second of each other, which is just wild. It's going to be very very close racing tonight.
Yeah, and that's of how many drivers? Like 15 or 16?
Yeah, between 13 and 15.
So this might be a close one. Hopefully it is.
I'm sure these guys put on a show week in and week out.
All right, we have now just dipped under the 1 minute and 30-second mark. Still, nobody's really improved up at the top. Josh is now up there with Carter and Luis, as expected, but they are within 3 thousandths of each other.
It doesn't get much closer than that. Rarely you see a couple guys run the same lap time. The only way you can get closer there.
Yeah. And then Carter not too far behind them. So we've got 3 graduates and then Luis and Carter, and that is a very solid top five. I'm curious if anyone else is going to be able to sneak in there.
I know a lot of these guys are going over telemetry this week too. There's a couple like Michael and James both were very very close to that pointy end. So if they can put a good lap together, they'll be just as competitive towards the top.
Yep. And most people here will now be on their final laps. So for all the marbles, will anybody be able to dethrone Kevin up at the top?
Guilherme gets a little bit closer, less than 2/10 behind Kevin now.
When Luis is about to finish his final lap, he's not going to be able to start another one, so this will be it. Let's see if he improves. And Carter will be right behind him. And this will be their final laps. And Luis's was invalid. Let's take a look at Carter's. Does not look like he improved.
As far as other drivers on the grid, still chasing that lap time, we do have Michael currently in P7. Looks like he's on a little bit of a faster lap.
Yeah, but out of the normal contenders, he is the last person, as Coley goes ahead and customarily puts it into the wall. He
It
is the
wouldn't.
scientist. He's always experimenting with the cars and how much abuse they can handle.
Yeah,
Michael
absolutely.
will now cross the line. 158.4, so he will not improve. So I wasn't able to catch the track temp at the beginning of quali, but it might have gotten hotter over the course of it, which may explain why a lot of the faster laps run in the beginning.
It does look like it got slightly warmer. We're looking at 93-degree track temps, but the wind is definitely fluctuating. It's headed north, so that might be playing a factor as well.
Hmm. Yeah, we will see. And we are done with qualifying.
All right, so taking a look at our starting grid, that is Kevin Cohen in P1, pole position. I'm sure he's happy to be there. That's followed by Guilherme in P2, Josh King in P3, and Luis Sampaio in P4. Carter Price in P5, Alex Lofi in P6, Michael in P7, followed with Angelo Bovino in P8, James in P9, and Matthew Farron rounding out our top 10.
Yes, sir. This is going to be a good one. A lot of people are very close to each other.
Yes. Over the last week, we've been talking a lot about pre-race anxiety, those nerves on that formation lap. What's your approach when you get your races started?
Well, I tried to do breathing exercises. So if I feel myself getting a little bit anxious or nervous, like physical arousal, you can feel the tension in your body. Typically, what I will do is I will do counted breathing. So I will breathe in, and then I will hold, and then I will release, and then I will hold. And that tends to help me tolerate the anxiety because a lot of people you're going to feel nervous anyway, especially if you really care about how you place and how good you do.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so my so my approach is to just tolerate it, accept it, and try not to let it influence my decision making.
Fair enough. I think that's a solid approach.
Yeah, how about you?
Definitely a little bit of the same. I wish I could say it was as organized as that, but it's mostly just repetitive deep breaths. I'm sure
Mhm.
there's a cadence to it. Um, but I also remind myself too, these are all the laps that I produce in this race have to be the laps that I've been practicing leading up to it. So as long as I remind myself of that, it kind of settles the nerves a little bit, gives me a little bit of confidence of wherever I land is pretty much a symptom or a result of the practice that I put into it leading up to this race.
Yeah, I mean, the more you decrease the stakes and remind yourself you've done this before, the better off you're going to be. As Kevin takes off in his trademark Dale Earnhardt 3. So we do have a short pace lap. There'll be slightly colder tires at the beginning, but also we won't be on the track for 5 minutes waiting for it to start. So,
Yeah, everybody's favorite thing is to have a long formation lap. Takes 5.5 minutes to get around, and that definitely does not help those pre-race nerves.
yeah, it helps you get to know maybe the mental capacity of your fellow drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
They're about to go around the final turn here, and we will be up and away.
With a 20-minute sprint session, and I believe we have 14 cars taking the race start, so this should be a good one heading into turn one.
Yeah, just like F1 if there were six Lance Strolls. All right, the pace car is off. Where will Kevin go?
He's waiting right until that start-finish line. He wants to make sure nobody can get a run on him coming into the first corner.
Green, green, green.
And we're off.
We are. Ooh, a lot of people getting better starts than the people in front of them. This is going to be a very interesting turn one as we go almost 4 wide down the street.
I'm seeing a lot of Porsche Caymans jumping all over the track right now.
Here we go into the first braking zone. Kevin maintaining turn one. Guillermo right behind him in T2. And we have a clean first lap, and now we head 2 to 3 wide into turn two.
Looks like Josh King looking to put the pressure on early on Guillermo.
Yeah, Guillermo has not raced against Josh yet, so he's about to feel the force of a very strong driver.
Being the newest graduate too, it's it's definitely very new territory for both of those guys. They're not really sure how each other races. Definitely need to do a lot of studying in these first 2 opening laps.
Absolutely. So far, not too much changing in the standings as we come around into the second half of the course here on turn 9.
Looks like we did have a clean start as well. No drama. Everybody kept it moving straight, right side up. So that's you love to see it.
Sure, and right now we have Alex Lo-Fi, however, did move up to 4th place. So he had an excellent start.
If he can stay in the draft of those 3 ahead, he's going to be up for a good finishing result.
He certainly is, as all of the drivers head towards the final turn, turn 15. This is a long, late apex turn, and this definitely separates the good drivers from the great drivers.
Yeah, well said. You know, with the way that corner is designed, there's no camber at the apex. It's downhill. Your car wants to push so far off track, so you have to be very patient and have a very precise braking technique to get through there.
Yep, and the long straight afterwards, make sure that you will pay for any of your insolence.
Yes, yeah.
All right, Kevin Cohen goes ahead, leads the pack around T1. We do not have as much separation as we've seen before. You know, typically by this time we will have like 2 or 3 drivers split off from the rest of the grid, but we still have P10 2 seconds away from P1.
Yeah, if my timing board is correct, there's only a 6.5 second separation between 1st place and 14th place. That is a very tight grid.
It is. That's going to be a lot for us to process here. We do have Kevin, Guillermo, and Josh. They have pulled maybe a half second to a second in front of Alex Carter and Luis and Matthew, but yeah, nobody is driving away from the field here. Guillermo having a look onto the inside of turn 9, deciding against it. He is going to be pressuring Kevin. And we do have a pass move. And that is Carter Price hanging around the outside. Will he take the position? He will not. He's going to go off track.
Yeah, a little wide, trying to make that move happen, and he winds up losing 2.
Oof. Ended up in the gravel. That was a nice try.
A little bit of overdriving has been the bane of Carter's existence all season long.
Gotta respect the move, though.
Yeah.
As they head into the final corner here.
Lewis having a little bit of a look on Alex.
And we will see whether he gets a good exit. It seems like he does. He's going to be right on Alex's tail. As Guillermo is right on Kevin's tail. Looks like we do have a fight for P10 between Michael and Joseph. And
Lewis going up the inside into T1, but he misses the braking zone. Alex is right on through. That's a classic over-under there.
It was, and Kevin was able to fight off the attack from Guillermo as well. It is easy. You might think it's easy to pass on here, but these exits are punishing.
Absolutely. Yeah, this track just requires a compromise in order to get a good exit on that 3rd corner. You see it all too often. If you push the first couple of corners, you end up just getting a horrible exit or that lack of rotation, and it really hurts.
Yep, patience will be the virtue here at Magello. The track tent has started to climb up a little bit as we get closer to the noon starting point.
Checking back in with our lead pack here, it's only 3/10 separating our P1 and P2 position.
Ooh, I just saw a pass between Essinger and Michael as Joseph takes P10.
Looks like we have another moment here. Chris Kohler making it up to P13 past Eric Faust.
Very nicely done. Up at the top again, we must really emphasize how little separation we are used to, like, that there has been compared to what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to more or less the finish of lap 3, we still only have 12 seconds separating our first and last place drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And Guillerme has not left Kevin Cohen's bumper for its second.
Not at all. And it needs to be mentioned, Josh King is still in that draft. He is not letting that lead pack go. So if we see too much fighting between our P1 and P2 guys, Josh is right in the mix.
Absolutely. Guillerme taking a look around the outside of T1. He tried this last lap.
They are door to door, but it's very difficult to make that outside line work, and Kevin does hold on to that position on exit.
Yeah, I guess the idea is to try to get onto the inside of turn 2, but then you're going to be on the outside of turn 3. And that is just difficult passing then.
Both of these guys are fantastic at compromising the guys that they're fighting as well. So they're both playing a similar game. They both have a similar approach to their racecraft, and neither one of them, their nerves are just not cracking.
Not at all. We go around T7.
And it looks like we do have another pass from Carter Price getting past Louis Sampaio for P5. He'll be itching to hunt down Alex in P4.
Yeah, that was very, very nicely done. It looks like we have P5 under attack from P6 and P7, so that is Alex, Carter, and Luis. Or no, that is Carter, Luis, and Angelo, who are very, very close to each other, as Guillerme is right on Kevin's tail yet again as we go to this final corner. Let's take a look at these exits. Will anybody get a look into T1?
It looks like we do have some separation between P5 and P7. I think Guillerme and Kevin are our closest battles at the moment.
Yes, they have been running very consistent 57 flats. And Guillerme, once again, is going to take a look at the outside of T1, and Kevin will defend on the inside.
Guillerme had a little bit nicer of a run there, but still just really struggling to make that outside line work.
Yeah, he's going to have to rely on a mistake from Kevin on the exit of that corner. But whatever fighting there is has allowed Josh to pull up right behind him, and he is still in their draft.
Josh has shown a lot of patience too. We saw at Mosport, he kind of sat back, waited for some action to happen, and then right when the moment was ripe for the picking, he got in there, took the lead in race 2, I believe, and just walked away with it from there.
Yes, it was a very impressive drive.
I'm sure he's trying to follow a somewhat similar approach here. He's seeing these two guys very close. Guillerme trying to make that pass work, and I think he's just going to sit back and be patient on this one.
Yes, he is, as our drivers head through T10, 11, and 12 here.
And it looks like Guillerme with a little bit of a mistake there, and that's going to bring Josh ever so closer.
Yes, but more importantly, it's going to give Kevin a little bit of breathing room, which he has not had it.
Not at all.
Around P12.
This is the biggest gap we've had between our P1 and P2 positions all race long.
Yes, and Carter is looking for a move on Alex here.
Alex
is going to take a defensive line.
Yep. You stole the words right out of my mouth.
Let's see.
Carter with a
Oh,
little bit of a run.
Oh, he's got him, I think. They're going to be side to side.
Has the position coming across the line, but can Alex do anything to fight back?
And behind them, Luis and Angelo are also fighting for this position. They're going to be side by side going into T1. And Carter completes the pass into P4. Very nicely done. Luis maintains P6, fighting off an attack from Angelo.
So now the pressure's on. We've got 4
Oh.
guys.
Guillermo lost the place to Josh. Guillermo must have made a huge mistake. Yes, Guillermo going off into the gravel at turn 3 and allowed Josh to get right behind, right ahead of him. That was a crucial mistake.
Now they do have to play a little bit of a game too. Can these guys work together to catch back up to Kevin, or is this going to be a battle for P2 all the way to the end?
Yes, as Angelo takes advantage of an off track by Luis to move ahead of him into P6.
Seeing a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes from some of these guys.
This is a tough track, and it is a punishing track as well. So we'll see if, hopefully nobody gets a drive through here, but it is certainly possible.
Yeah, it looks like our highest incident points at the moment is actually from the scientist with 10.
Again, research.
Always exploring the limit, isn't he?
He is. All right, Guillermo is going to be side by side with Josh into turn 1.
Guillermo up the inside. Josh not fighting too hard.
No, believe that. Well, he's going to have a bit of a run on him coming through T3. Is he going to be able to get to the inside of T4?
Looks like he's going to have to wait just a little bit longer to get that position back.
Yes. Josh often isn't racing against people who are pretty clearly faster, so this is a new experience for him here, as Guillermo is 3.3 I rating. 3.3k I rating, my fault. Giving him a lot more than he could handle at the moment.
And Guillermo a little bit wide, and that lets Josh right on through with a little bit of contact, both of them in the gravel.
They're both in the gravel. Bit of a racing incident there, but that is going to allow Kevin to get a very, very healthy lead.
Not only
Guillermo's
that,
going to fall back.
Carter through into T10.
Into P3 goes Carter, and now Guillermo has a whole lot ahead of him. Oh, man.
That is the upset of the race, I think.
It is. Josh into P2, Carter into P3, Guillermo back into P4.
And while all that drama was happening, it looks like Angelo Bovino had a little bit of an issue too. He's down to P9.
Oh, man. It is the witching hour for this race.
With 6 minutes to go, the pressure is on.
The pressure is on, the track is hot. We are up to 98 degrees Fahrenheit, and the tires are warming up. Kevin Cohen, a 3-second lead over Josh, who is maintaining a 1-second lead to Carter. And Guillermo is going to be right on Carter's back.
He definitely is going to want that position back. And while you say that, Carter goes wide, giving Guillermo an opportunity into T4.
And Carter keeps his foot down.
A little bit of a compromised exit. These guys are almost door to door.
Guillermo letting Carter take a little bit of a line through. Oh, this is a battle. This fighting has allowed Alex to sneak up right behind him. Now he's in the mix. Excellent, excellent defensive driving from Carter Price.
Carter looking nice and tidy too. He knows that he needs to keep it nice and clean in order to bring home this P3.
Yes. Absolutely. We also have, looks like Joseph Essinger and James fighting through into P12. They're going to head into the final corner here in a second.
Our only BMW on the grid. James putting the pressure on in the last corner. Not quite enough space to sneak up the inside though.
It is not, and Joseph will maintain his place, but we will see whether James gets the exit. Alright, we're going to have another look around the outside here for Guillerme into turn 1. Carter keeping his foot down, but Guillerme has actually kept the inside, but has to let up a little bit. Oh, this is going to be another great battle. Guillerme keeping it around the outside. A little bit of contact. Guillerme goes wide again.
And that's going to get
man.
Alex right on through.
It is. Yeah, that has not been a good luck place to pass. It is so hard not to understeer into the gravel there. So Carter trying to leave Guillerme room, just barely wasn't able to do it. This is a tough track. It looks easy, tough to pass.
Especially with these hotter temps. As the track heats up, those tires heat up, the tire slide becomes a little bit more unpredictable. It's very hard to judge.
Yes, and that's also going to allow Luis into the fight here for third. We've got 3 through 6.
And that's Luis Sampaio through to P5.
Guillerme and his countryman there, Luis. Don't know if Guillerme has damage. None of the contact he took looked very damaging, but you never know in iRacing.
Yeah, let's ride on board and see if he's struggling with the car at all.
As Luis goes ahead and passes Alex on the straight, so he has gone from P7 to P6 to P4 in these last 2 laps.
We were expecting a very good race, but I don't think we were expecting just as much shuffling on the grid as we've seen.
This is a nice break from Mosport, that's for sure.
You could not be more accurate with that statement.
Yes. So after all of this, Kevin Cohen, 3.5-second lead over Josh, who now has a 3-second lead to the pack behind him, which is Carter, Luis, Alex, and Guillerme. Michael going for a pass on Joseph Essinger.
Ooh, and it looks like there's a bit of a moment there between James and Joseph as well.
We'll have to take a look at that after the race. Meanwhile, our pack is still neck and neck. Guillerme putting the pressure on Alex. This has not been the luckiest Sector 1 for him, though.
Yeah, this has been a tough lap. Hopefully a mental reset and he can get back in the game. It looks like we're going to have about 1 lap to go, so there's still a lot on the table.
And we have Luis into P3.
around the outside of Carter into the final corner. He's going to try to break that draft. That's going to be a very difficult one, though. Carter has quite the run.
Yes, but Luis has the inside, and we have seen it be very, very tough to pass around the outside of T1. This is now the white flag lap for these drivers.
Carter very, very wide. That's going to bring Alex right back into the mix as well.
It is. Man, these guys have just been trading places. You know, Luis was sort of out of it for a little while. He was just sort of chilling in P6 behind the pack, and then
Carter!
mistake, battle after battle.
Carter
going
wide
keeping his
again.
position.
Yeah.
Yes. Now we have Guilherme looking at the back of Alex. Wonder if he can make a move, but he is not going to.
And that tallies Carter Price's incident points all the way up to 10. Still has some room, but definitely has to be very careful on this final lap.
He does. They need to stay clean. They need to stay focused. Hot tracks are very easy to come by on this track, that's for sure. Carter with the he got a very nice run on the race into T2. Or, when was this? T12. He's going to go around the outside.
Not a lot of grip out there, and he definitely struggles to keep the car planted.
He does. So as this battle rages on, we will have Kevin Cohen going around the final turn of this race. And he is going to go ahead and win race 1 here at Mugello.
And that's followed by Josh King as our runner-up. He'll take P2. And we actually have Luis Sampaio in P3 as an AM driver, followed by Carter Price, and then Guilherme, our last pro on the grid, in P6.
And Alex Lofi must have had a moment.
Yeah, there's some damage on that front bumper of his, and that is a banged up looking car. So
yeah, let's take a look and see what happened. Oh, he lost it on his own through turn 10 and 11. Oh, what a shame. He was having such a good race. He's still going to maintain P6, and he should be proud of that drive, but that is heartbreaking.
So to round out our grid, we have Alex Lofi in P6, followed by Michael in P7. The scientist crashing his car in the scientist fashion at the end of every race. Angelo Bovino in P8, Joseph Essinger in P9, James in P10, Chris Kohler in P11. The scientist taking P12, followed by Eric Faust in P13, and rounding out our 14 drivers with Matthew Farron. That was definitely
really excellent race.
I was going to say the same thing. That was a lot of excitement for 20 minutes. I'm sure these guys need a little bit of a cool down coming into race 2.
Yeah, and they are going to get a little bit of it, but qualifying has started for the next race.
Well, in the meantime, we'll get ready and hop over into the next session then. We don't want to miss any of the qualifying action.
We sure don't.